In the far reaches of the Milky Way, where the light of ancient stars weaves through the void like threads of silver, two civilizations had locked horns in a battle that had spanned centuries. The Zorblaxians, beings of pure energy contained within crystalline structures, and the Cretans, avian-like creatures with a culture centered around honor and martial prowess, were embroiled in a conflict that seemed to have no end. Their war had become a fixture of the galaxy, a constant storm of violence that raged across star systems, leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. The origins of the conflict were buried deep in the annals of history, obscured by the passage of time and the bias of historians on both sides. Some said it began with a territorial dispute, others claimed it was sparked by an assassination. The truth, however, mattered little to the generations born into a galaxy carved into spheres of influence, where neutral planets were as rare as peace treaties. The Zorblaxians, whose very essence allowed them to manipulate energy fields, had developed weapons that could unravel the fabric of space, creating rifts that swallowed fleets whole. Their ships, vast crystalline structures that floated through space like colossal luminescent jellyfish, were a mesmerizing sight, beautiful yet deadly. The Cretans, in contrast, were masters of biological engineering. Their ships, grown rather than built, were alive, with sinewy wings that flapped in the vacuum of space, and hulls that could heal from damage like flesh wounds. Their warriors, enhanced with cybernetic implants and wielding weapons that spat genetic poisons, were fearsome adversaries. Yet despite their formidable powers and technologies, neither side could claim victory. The Zorblaxians' ability to manipulate energy was countered by the Cretans' biological resilience, and the raw might of the Cretan fleets met its match in the Zorblaxian spatial rifts. Battles raged across planets and moons, leaving them lifeless and barren, their atmospheres choked with the debris of war. It was into this galaxy of endless conflict that Earth accidentally made its first contact. Not through grand diplomatic gestures or the discovery of an alien artifact, but through a simple, albeit advanced piece of technology, a deep space listening array designed to detect the faintest whispers of the cosmos. What it found instead was a cry for help. The message was a distress signal not meant for human ears. It spoke of a galaxy in turmoil, of civilizations on the brink of destruction, and of a war that threatened to consume all. The voice was alien, its tone filled with a weariness that spoke of centuries of conflict. It pleaded for intervention, for someone, anyone, to help end the perpetual cycle of violence. At first, the message was met with skepticism. Could it be a hoax, a clever fabrication designed to deceive? But as the scientists and linguists worked to decode the alien language, the truth became undeniable. The message was real, and its implications staggering. There were other intelligent beings in the galaxy, and they were asking for help. The discovery sparked a frenzy of activity on Earth. Governments convened in emergency sessions, military leaders gathered to assess the situation, and the public was ablaze with speculation and fear. The decision to respond, and how, weighed heavily on the leaders of the world. To ignore the plea was to condemn unknown billions to death. To intervene was to risk the wrath of civilizations far more advanced than humanity. After days of deliberation, a decision was reached. Humanity would respond, not with words but with action. If the galaxy was indeed locked in an unwinnable war, then perhaps it was time for a new player to enter the fray. A player unburdened by centuries of hatred and vendetta. A player known for its ingenuity, resilience, and, above all, its capacity for hope. The Earth's greatest minds were mobilized, tasked with the monumental challenge of preparing humanity for its debut on the galactic stage. Technologies that had been in their infancy were rapidly developed, alliances were formed, and a plan of action was crafted. The objective was clear: to end the war that had plagued the galaxy for centuries. And so, under the cover of darkness, a fleet unlike any the galaxy had ever seen began to assemble. Ships, sleek and powerful, equipped with technology that blurred the lines between science and magic, prepared to make the jump to hyperspace. Their crews, a mix of soldiers, scientists, and diplomats, knew the task ahead would be fraught with danger. But they also knew that this was humanity's moment to prove itself, not just as a newcomer to the galactic community, but as a force for peace. The discovery of the distress signal had been an accident, a fortunate anomaly in the sea of cosmic noise. Dr. Elena Vasquez, leading the team at the Deep Space Listening Post hidden in the Andes, had been the first to hear it. The signal was a complex mix of frequencies, embedded with patterns that no natural phenomenon could produce. It took weeks of analysis, but eventually they unraveled it, revealing a message that would alter the course of human history. The world had reacted with a mixture of awe and fear. The reality of extraterrestrial life, long the domain of science fiction and speculative thought, was now undeniable. The message's plea for help resonated deeply with humanity. It spoke of endless war, of civilizations pushed to the brink, and of the countless lives lost in the pursuit of supremacy. It was a mirror to humanity's own turbulent history, a reminder of the wars that had scarred their own world. But it also presented an opportunity, a chance to reach out and make a difference on a galactic scale. The United Nations, reformed and strengthened in the wake of recent global crises, convened an emergency session. Representatives from every nation on Earth debated the merits and dangers of responding. The potential for technological advancement, diplomatic relations, and even the risk of drawing Earth into a galactic conflict were weighed and considered. In the end, it was the argument for moral responsibility that swayed the vote. Humanity had a chance to offer aid, to perhaps bring peace to a conflict-torn galaxy. The decision was made. Earth would respond to the distress signal. The task of making contact fell to a newly established branch of the UN, the United Earth Space Command, UESC. Comprised of the best and brightest from every nation, the UESC began the monumental task of preparing for humanity's first official venture into the stars. Advanced propulsion technologies, once theoretical, were developed at a breakneck pace. Ships capable of interstellar travel were designed and constructed in secret orbital shipyards. AI systems were programmed with diplomatic protocols and alien languages, deciphered from the patterns of the distress signal. Amidst this flurry of activity, Dr. Vasquez was approached by General Marcus Cole, the newly appointed commander of the UESC's expeditionary force. He offered her a place on the mission, a chance to be among the first humans to make contact with alien civilizations. It was an opportunity she couldn't refuse. As preparations continued, a select crew of diplomats, scientists, and military personnel was assembled. Among them were Captain Aisha Patel, pilot and engineer, Lieutenant Kazuo Takahashi, security officer and tactician, and Dr. Liam O'Connor, biologist and xenospecialist. Together, they represented the best of humanity, a microcosm of Earth's diverse cultures and disciplines. The mission was clear: to travel to the coordinates provided in the distress signal, assess the situation, and offer assistance. It was a mission of peace, but the crew was under no illusions. They were stepping into the unknown, into a conflict that had lasted centuries. The risks were immense, but so were the possibilities. The night before their departure, the crew gathered to gaze upon the Earth one last time. Below them, the planet shone like a jewel in the darkness, a silent reminder of what they were fighting for. They were not just representatives of their countries, but of humanity as a whole. Their mission was a testament to human ingenuity, courage, and the unyielding hope for a better future. As the engines of their ship roared to life, propelling them into the vastness of space, they carried with them the aspirations of their species. For the first time in history, humanity was reaching beyond its solar system, not in search of conquest, but in the spirit of cooperation and peace. The journey ahead would be long, fraught with challenges they could scarcely imagine. But as the stars stretched out before them, the crew of the UESC's flagship, the Prometheus, knew they were about to embark on the greatest adventure of their lives. The galaxy awaited, and with it, the chance to change the course of history. The decision to intervene in an alien conflict was not made lightly. It had been the subject of intense debate among Earth's leaders, military strategists, and the public alike. The United Earth Space Command, UESC, under the leadership of General Marcus Cole, had been tasked with the monumental undertaking of preparing for humanity's first venture into interstellar diplomacy, and potentially conflict. The UESC's strategy room was a hive of activity, illuminated by holographic displays of star systems, alien technology assessments, and the Prometheus's trajectory. General Cole, a man who had spent his career preparing for threats closer to home, now found himself charting a course through the stars. He was acutely aware of the burden of command, the weight of the decisions that lay ahead. Dr. Elena Vasquez, the astrophysicist who had first identified the distress signal, had been appointed as the mission's chief scientific advisor. Her expertise in deciphering the message had made her an invaluable asset to the team. She worked closely with Captain Aisha Patel, the Prometheus's commander, whose calm demeanor and quick thinking had earned her the respect of the crew. The mission's objectives were clear, but achieving them would require navigating a complex web of unknowns. The first challenge was the journey itself. The technology for interstellar travel, while advanced, was untested. The ship's experimental engine, powered by a compact fusion reactor, was capable of reaching near-light speeds. But the vast distances between stars meant that even a minor miscalculation could send them hurtling into the unknown. Once they reached their destination, the crew would need to assess the situation quickly. The conflict, according to the distress signal, was between two highly advanced civilizations, the Zorblaxians and the Cretans. Little was known about either species, except for the brief descriptions encoded in the message. The Zorblaxians were described as beings of energy, while the Cretans were more familiar, at least in form, resembling the avian species of Earth. The strategy for engagement was to remain neutral, to offer aid and mediation without taking sides. It was a delicate balance, one that required not just diplomatic finesse but also a readiness to defend the mission against potential hostility. Lieutenant Kazuo Takahashi, the security officer, had been working tirelessly to prepare for such contingencies, equipping the Prometheus with the latest in defensive technology. Yet the greatest challenge of all was the uncertainty. No one could predict how either the Zorblaxians or the Cretans would react to humanity's presence. Would they see Earth's intervention as a neutral act of goodwill, or would they view the humans as a new threat, a variable in their centuries-old equation of war? As the departure date approached, the crew of the Prometheus gathered for a final briefing. General Cole addressed them, his voice steady. "We stand on the precipice of a new era for humanity. Our mission is one of peace, but we venture into the unknown, into a conflict that is not our own. Remember, we carry with us the hopes of our planet, the ideals of cooperation, and the pursuit of peace. Be vigilant, be brave, and above all, be compassionate. The galaxy may be vast, but today we take a step toward bringing its inhabitants closer together." The room was silent as the gravity of their task settled over them. They were not just explorers or soldiers, they were emissaries of Earth, bearing a message of hope to a galaxy in turmoil. With the final checks complete, the Prometheus's engines came to life, a low hum that grew into a roar as the ship prepared to make the jump to hyperspace. On the view screens, the stars stretched into lines, and then, with a flash of light, the ship was gone, slipping into the void between worlds. Back on Earth, the departure was watched by billions, a collective breath held as humanity took its first steps into the interstellar community. It was a moment of pride, of anxiety, and of hope. The journey had begun and the eyes of the world were fixed on the stars, waiting for the moment when humans would join the war and perhaps bring it to an end. The Prometheus's journey through hyperspace was a testament to human ingenuity and the collective effort of Earth's greatest minds. The technology enabling their voyage, once theoretical, now propelled them beyond the solar system at speeds unfathomable to generations past. Inside the ship, the atmosphere was one of focused intensity as the crew prepared for their arrival in the conflict zone. Captain Aisha Patel oversaw the preparations with a calm and steady hand. The crew, a blend of military personnel, scientists, and diplomats, worked with a sense of purpose that transcended their individual roles. Every system, from life support to the experimental weapons designed to disable rather than destroy, was checked and rechecked. The ethos was clear: they were there to mediate, not to escalate. Dr. Elena Vasquez, together with Dr. Liam O'Connor, led the scientific contingent in simulating various first contact scenarios. O'Connor, whose expertise in xenobiology made him a crucial asset, speculated on the biology of the Zorblaxians and Cretans, crafting approaches to communication that might bridge the vast differences between their species and humanity. Vasquez, meanwhile, fine-tuned the translation algorithms, using the data from the distress signal to anticipate the linguistic challenges they might face. Lieutenant Kazuo Takahashi and his security team trained in non-lethal combat tactics, emphasizing restraint and defense. Takahashi, a tactician with a deep understanding of martial history, knew that the slightest misstep could be catastrophic. His team practiced disarming maneuvers and containment strategies, ready to protect the ship and its crew without causing harm to their potential hosts. In the diplomatic quarters, Ambassador Lin Zhao led discussions on interstellar diplomacy, drawing on Earth's tumultuous history to outline strategies for peacekeeping. Her team rehearsed negotiations, role-playing both the Zorblaxians and Cretans to prepare for the myriad ways dialogue could unfold. The importance of neutrality, empathy, and understanding in their mission was reiterated at every opportunity. As the Prometheus neared the end of its hyperspace journey, the engineering team, led by Chief Engineer Miguel Santos, conducted final checks on the ship's systems. The engine, a marvel of fusion technology, required precise calibration to ensure their re-entry into normal space was smooth. Santos, a veteran engineer with a knack for solving intractable problems, oversaw the process with meticulous attention to detail. The mood aboard the Prometheus was a complex tapestry of anticipation, anxiety, and determination. Each member of the crew understood the gravity of their mission. They were not just representing their nations or even humanity. They were ambassadors of the concept of peace itself. As the ship emerged from hyperspace, the crew gathered on the bridge. The galaxy stretched out before them, a canvas of light and shadow painted with stars, nebulae, and the infinite dark. Somewhere in that vast expanse lay their destination, a point in space where two civilizations had clashed for centuries. Captain Patel addressed her crew, her voice steady and clear. "This is it," she began. "We've trained for this moment, prepared to face what lies ahead with courage and compassion. Remember, our mission is to listen, to understand, and to offer our help. We carry with us the hope for a peaceful resolution. Let's show the galaxy what humanity is capable of." With that, the Prometheus powered forward, its course set for the heart of the conflict. The crew, a microcosm of Earth itself, stood ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Their journey was not just a mission of diplomacy, it was a journey of discovery, a chance to prove that even in the vastness of space, understanding and peace were possible. The stakes were high, and the eyes of the world were upon them. But within the heart of every crew member lay the unshakable belief that peace was not just an ideal to strive for, but a real possibility. As the Prometheus sailed into the unknown, it carried with it the best of what it meant to be human: hope. The Prometheus, a beacon of Earth's unity and determination, had traversed the void between stars, emerging from hyperspace on the fringe of a system marked by the scars of conflict. As the crew adjusted to the reversion to normal space, a sense of solemnity settled over the bridge. Ahead of them lay the true test of their mission, to engage with two alien civilizations locked in an endless war, offering peace as an alternative to destruction. The system before them was a battleground, planets and moons scarred by the ravages of war, debris fields where once mighty fleets had clashed. Captain Aisha Patel ordered a cautious approach, the ship's sensors extending like the fingers of a blind man, feeling their way through the darkness. The first images that flickered to life on the view screens were sobering, a stark reminder of the stakes at play. Dr. Elena Vasquez and her team immediately set to work, analyzing the sensor data for any sign of the warring factions. It was Dr. Liam O'Connor who first noticed the anomaly, a faint energy signature unlike anything they had encountered before. It was a clue, perhaps the first real indication of the Zorblaxians' presence. Meanwhile, Lieutenant Kazuo Takahashi coordinated with the ship's AI to model potential encounter scenarios, each simulation providing valuable data to refine their defensive strategies. The crew was not here to fight, but Takahashi knew that understanding the capabilities of potential adversaries was crucial to maintaining the peace. Ambassador Lin Zhao reviewed the dossiers on the Zorblaxians and Cretans, prepared by Earth's best xenopsychologists and cultural analysts. Each species' culture, values, and potential motivations were considered, crafting a diplomatic strategy that emphasized common ground and mutual benefit. Her team practiced their pitches, refining the message of peace they hoped would resonate with both sides. As the Prometheus edged closer to the heart of the conflict, the crew detected communications between the warring factions. The languages were complex, layered with nuances that tested even the advanced translation algorithms developed by Dr. Vasquez's team. But amidst the strategic commands and battle cries, there were also cries for help, messages of loss and despair that needed no translation. The moment of first contact was drawing near. A decision was made to make their presence known, to reach out with a message of peace. A broad-spectrum communication was prepared, broadcasting their intentions in as many languages and formats as the ship's computers could generate. They introduced themselves as emissaries of Earth, a neutral party seeking to mediate an end to the conflict. The response was immediate and varied. Some messages were curious, others outright hostile, but all were united in their shock at the appearance of a new player on the galactic stage. The Zorblaxians, intrigued by the concept of a species unaffected by the centuries of hatred that defined their existence, signaled a cautious willingness to communicate. The Cretans, on the other hand, were skeptical, their martial culture slow to trust, but equally slow to dismiss the possibility of peace. With both sides' attention secured, the Prometheus took up a stationary orbit around a neutral moon, designated as the meeting point. The crew prepared for the possibility of face-to-face negotiations, a historic summit that could either usher in a new era of galactic peace or plunge humanity into a conflict of unimaginable proportions. Captain Patel convened a final strategy meeting. The core team gathered around the holotable. "This is it," she began, her gaze meeting each of her crew members in turn. "Everything we've worked for comes down to this moment. We have a chance to end centuries of war, to show the galaxy that there's a better way. Let's make sure we take it." The weight of their task was palpable, the air charged with a mixture of anticipation and resolve. They were far from home, standing on the brink of a moment that could define humanity's place in the cosmos. As the first alien delegates confirmed their arrival times, the crew of the Prometheus readied themselves to step into history, armed with nothing but the hope for peace and the belief that even the longest of wars could be brought to an end. As the delegates from the Zorblaxian and Cretan factions approached the neutral moon, tension aboard the Prometheus reached a palpable level. The crew, though meticulously prepared, faced the unknown. The history of the conflict, spanning centuries, was a melangetic weave of betrayal, loss, and a deeply ingrained sense of honor and vengeance from both sides. Earth's emissaries were acutely aware that their intervention might be perceived as naive, a simplistic intrusion into a complex age-old feud. The arrival of the alien delegates was as unceremonious as it was historic. The Zorblaxians, beings of pure energy, manifested within the containment units they used as bodies, their presence a shifting spectrum of light. The Cretans, avian and imposing, donned in armor that spoke of their martial culture, observed their surroundings with a cautious intelligence. Both parties bore the weight of their civilization's hopes and despairs, a burden visible even through their alien demeanors. Ambassador Lin Zhao, flanked by Dr. Elena Vasquez and Lieutenant Kazuo Takahashi, extended the first of Earth's greetings. The Universal Translator, a masterpiece of linguistic programming and AI integration, bridged the vast chasms of communication. The initial exchanges were formal, steeped in the cautious dance of diplomacy. Yet beneath the formalities there was a current of curiosity, a recognition of the monumental nature of their gathering. The first sessions were dedicated to understanding, to listening. The Prometheus's crew employed a strategy of empathetic diplomacy, encouraging both sides to share their histories, their grievances, and their losses. It was a process fraught with emotional intensity, the recounting of atrocities and betrayals evoking responses from all present. Humanity's representatives listened, acknowledged, and offered condolences, their genuine empathy surprising to both the Zorblaxians and Cretans. Dr. Vasquez's insights into the alien cultures, gleaned from the distress signal and subsequent analyses, proved invaluable. She navigated the crew through the complex social and cultural nuances, avoiding missteps that could have derailed the delicate proceedings. Meanwhile, Dr. O'Connor's xenobiological expertise allowed for a deeper understanding of the physical and psychological needs of their guests, fostering an environment of comfort and respect. As the negotiations progressed, a surprising development unfolded. The Zorblaxians, long perceived as aloof and detached, revealed a deep-seated fear of extinction, their energy forms susceptible to a unique form of decay. The Cretans, warriors to their core, expressed a profound exhaustion with the endless cycle of conflict, a desire for peace obscured by the facade of martial pride. It was this revelation, facilitated by the humans' unbiased mediation, that began to shift the tone of the negotiations. The element of surprise, Earth's sudden and unforeseen involvement, had initially brought the alien factions to the negotiating table out of curiosity and caution. Now, it was humanity's capacity for empathy, for understanding the heart of the conflict, that began to bridge the vast divide between the two sides. Captain Patel, observing the changing dynamics, recognized the moment's fragility. She ordered a temporary recess, allowing the delegates to process the day's revelations. In the quiet that followed, the crew of the Prometheus reflected on their role not just as peacekeepers, but as catalysts for a shift in perspective. They had ventured into the galaxy as emissaries of Earth, but they found themselves in the unexpected position of uniting ancient enemies against a commonality they had long forgotten: their shared vulnerability and weariness of war. As the alien delegates reconvened, the atmosphere was tinged with a cautious optimism. The histories of hatred and conflict, while not forgotten, were momentarily set aside, overshadowed by the possibility of something new, something hopeful. The element of surprise had evolved into a moment of revelation, a chance to redefine centuries of strife. The negotiations that resumed were different in tone and intent. What started as a cautious dialogue became a genuine discussion about peace, about the possibility of ending the cycle of conflict that had defined the Zorblaxians and Cretans for generations. The humans, with their unique position as outsiders, had managed to turn their initial surprise into an opportunity for peace, leveraging their understanding, empathy, and the shared desire for a future unburdened by endless war. The negotiations under the stewardship of the Prometheus crew entered an unprecedented phase. The breakthrough had come not just from the shock of humanity's sudden appearance or their awe-inspiring leap into interstellar diplomacy, but from the genuine connections being forged across the chasm of alien cultures and histories. The shift was palpable, a testament to the power of empathy and the universal desire for peace. As discussions deepened, the Zorblaxians and Cretans, motivated by their newfound understanding and the humans' neutral perspective, began to explore concrete steps towards a ceasefire. The Prometheus served as a neutral ground, a space where ideas could be exchanged freely, without the shadow of war looming over. Ambassador Lin Zhao, with her team's support, facilitated the delicate conversations, guiding the factions through the negotiation of terms. It was a meticulous process, each clause and condition pored over with the understanding that the devil was in the details. The discussions were not without their tensions. Centuries of conflict had bred deep-seated mistrust that could not be dispelled overnight. Yet with each passing hour, the prospect of peace transformed from a distant dream into a tangible reality. Meanwhile, Dr. Vasquez and Dr. O'Connor worked to establish a cultural exchange, a sharing of knowledge and art that transcended the political and focused on the personal. It was during these exchanges that the crew of the Prometheus and their guests witnessed moments of profound connection, laughter at shared discoveries, awe at the beauty of art and science, and a mutual respect for the diversity of life. Lieutenant Takahashi, tasked with the security of the proceedings, found himself in the unexpected role of peacekeeper. His team, trained for combat, now served as guardians of the peace process, a role they embraced with a sense of duty that transcended mere military obligation. The security measures in place were not just to protect against external threats, but to ensure that the negotiations proceeded without intimidation or fear. As the final terms of the ceasefire were debated, a live feed of the negotiations was broadcast throughout the conflict zones, a bold move proposed by Captain Patel. The galaxy watched in rapt attention as former enemies spoke not of war but of peace. The broadcast served as a powerful reminder of what was at stake: the lives of countless beings, the future of civilizations. The impact was immediate and profound. Across battle lines, soldiers watched as their leaders worked towards peace, the reality of their situation settling in. The shock of seeing their once distant enemies up close, vulnerable and sincere in their desire for peace, coupled with the awe of humanity's audacious leap into their conflict, sparked a wave of ceasefires across the front lines. On the Prometheus, as the final agreement was signed, there was a collective sense of accomplishment, but also the recognition that this was only the beginning. The true test would be in the implementation of the ceasefire, in the rebuilding of trust, and the healing of wounds that ran deep. The signing ceremony was simple, yet profound. The Zorblaxians and Cretans, once implacable foes, now stood side by side, a visual emblem of the potential for change. Humanity, represented by the crew of the Prometheus, had not only witnessed history, but had played a pivotal role in its making. As the delegates departed, promises of further talks and the establishment of a peacekeeping framework in place, The crew of the Prometheus prepared for their journey back to Earth. They left behind a galaxy changed, not by the force of arms, but by the power of diplomacy and the universal yearning for peace. The return journey was a time of reflection. Each member of the crew, from the highest-ranking officer to the newest recruit, had been transformed by the experience. They had ventured into the unknown as emissaries of Earth and had emerged as architects of peace. The legacy of their mission, they knew, would be written in the years to come, in the peace that would grow from the seeds they had sown. The shock and awe of their arrival had faded, replaced by the enduring light of hope, a beacon for the galaxy, and a testament to the power of humanity's unyielding spirit. As the Prometheus made its journey back to Earth, the galaxy behind them simmered with the fragile promise of peace. The ceasefire agreement, a document born from unprecedented diplomacy, was more than a pause in the fighting. It was a testament to the possibility of a future unmarred by the constant shadow of war. The role of humanity, a previously unknown player in the galactic stage, had been pivotal, but the true turning point lay ahead, in the hands of those who had known only conflict for centuries. Back on Earth, the crew's return was met with a mixture of celebration and introspection. The world had watched, holding its breath, as the Prometheus ventured into the unknown, and now its success sparked a global conversation about humanity's place in the universe. The crew, once mere representatives of Earth's nations, had become symbols of a collective human spirit capable of transcending the stars to broker peace. Captain Aisha Patel, her leadership tested in the crucible of interstellar diplomacy, became a voice for the potential of peaceful exploration and cooperation in space. In her speeches and interviews, she emphasized the commonalities shared by all sentient beings, the desire for peace, the fear of extinction, and the boundless curiosity about the universe. Dr. Elena Vasquez, whose expertise had unlocked the door to understanding the alien cultures, dedicated herself to the study of the data gathered during the mission. Her work, shared with the global scientific community, laid the foundation for a new era of interstellar anthropology, one that looked beyond the confines of human experience to embrace the vast diversity of galactic life. Lieutenant Kazuo Takahashi, whose preparations had safeguarded the mission, became an advocate for the military's role in supporting peaceful endeavors. His experience on the Prometheus reshaped his perspective on security and defense, highlighting the importance of readiness not just for war, but for peacekeeping and humanitarian missions beyond Earth's atmosphere. Ambassador Lin Zhao, the diplomatic heart of the mission, worked tirelessly to build on the momentum of the ceasefire. Her efforts, supported by Earth's governments and the newly established United Earth Space Command, focused on establishing permanent diplomatic relations with the Zorblaxians and Cretans. The goal was clear: to transform the ceasefire into a lasting peace, ensuring that the conflict that had once threatened to consume the galaxy would never reignite. The Prometheus itself became a symbol of Earth's newfound role in the galactic community. Plans were made to use the ship as a training ground for future diplomats and explorers, preparing them for the complexities of interstellar relations. The success of the mission had proven that humanity had much to offer the galaxy, not just in terms of technology or military might, but in its capacity for empathy and understanding. The turning point, however, was not without its challenges. Skeptics both on Earth and among the stars questioned the durability of the peace, pointing to the deep-seated animosities that had fueled the conflict for generations. Yet as days turned into months and the ceasefire held, the initial success of the negotiations began to solidify into something more permanent. Reconstruction efforts, supported by human aid and expertise, started to heal the physical and psychological scars of war. In the galaxy, where once there had been only the anticipation of the next battle, there was now hope for the next peace. The Zorblaxians and Cretans, inspired by the example set by humanity, took tentative steps towards reconciliation, their efforts supported by a growing coalition of civilizations tired of the endless cycle of conflict. The turning point, it seemed, was not just a moment in time, but a shift in the very fabric of the galaxy's consciousness. Humanity had shown that change was possible, that even after centuries of war, peace was an achievable goal. The Prometheus mission, a daring gamble by a species new to the stars, had changed the course of galactic history, proving that even in the vast and often indifferent universe, hope could find a way to shine through. In the months following the ceasefire, the galaxy watched as the seeds of peace planted by the Prometheus mission began to sprout. Reconstruction efforts on war-torn planets were underway, facilitated by human-led initiatives that brought together Zorblaxian energy technology and Cretan biological advancements. However, the path to lasting peace was fraught with obstacles, none more challenging than the sudden collapse of the Cretan leadership. The Cretan society, deeply hierarchical and bound by complex codes of honor, found itself in turmoil when a faction within its military, disillusioned by the ceasefire and fearing the loss of their way of life, staged a coup. This splinter group, led by Commander Vrax, a veteran of countless battles, viewed the ceasefire as anathema to Cretan culture. Their swift and brutal takeover of the Cretan High Council sent shockwaves through the galaxy, threatening to unravel the fragile tapestry of peace. Earth's response was swift. Recognizing the danger posed by the coup to the nascent peace, the United Earth Space Command, with Captain Aisha Patel at the helm, launched a diplomatic mission to engage with the rebel Cretan faction. The Prometheus, symbol of human diplomatic achievement, set course for Cretan space, its mission not just to negotiate, but to understand the roots of the dissent and to find a path forward that honored Cretan values while preserving the peace. The journey was tense, the crew of the Prometheus acutely aware of the stakes. They were venturing into a society in upheaval, where the values they had championed, peace, cooperation, understanding, were now in direct conflict with a powerful faction's identity. Upon arrival, the Prometheus was met with suspicion and hostility. Commander Vrax, seeing the humans not as mediators but as enforcers of a peace he viewed as capitulation, initially refused to engage. It was only through back-channel communications, facilitated by Cretans who had benefited from the ceasefire and feared a return to war, that a meeting was arranged. The discussions that followed were unlike any the crew of the Prometheus had encountered. Commander Vrax and his followers were not swayed by appeals to commonality or the benefits of peace. They were warriors, steeped in a culture that valued strength and honor above all. To reach them, the humans had to understand and respect those values, to find a way to frame the ceasefire not as an end to conflict, but as a strategic repositioning, a way to preserve Cretan society and its honor for future generations. Dr. Elena Vasquez, with her deep understanding of alien cultures, and Lieutenant Kazuo Takahashi, with his strategic mind and respect for the warrior code, played crucial roles in these negotiations. They framed the dialogue around concepts familiar to the Cretans: strength, honor, legacy, while gently guiding the conversation towards the benefits of peace and cooperation. The breakthrough came unexpectedly, from a young Cretan warrior who had served on the front lines. He spoke of the war's futility, of friends lost and futures wasted. His testimony, raw and unvarnished, touched on something Commander Vrax had long buried: the cost of their endless war, not in strategic terms, but in the lives of his people. In the end, it was not the grand ideals of peace or the threat of mutual destruction that swayed the Cretan splinter faction, but the realization that true strength lay in the ability to adapt, to find honor not just in battle, but in the survival and flourishing of their culture. The agreement reached was delicate, a compromise that allowed Commander Vrax and his followers to retain their honor while recommitting to the ceasefire. The Prometheus's crew, once again, had navigated the seemingly insurmountable barriers of alien psychology and culture to avert disaster. As the ship departed Cretan space, there was a sense among the crew that they had witnessed a turning point, not just for the Cretans but for the galaxy. The path to peace was complex, woven from countless individual threads, each requiring care, understanding, and respect to weave into a lasting tapestry. The Cretan collapse had tested the ceasefire, but in its resolution lay the proof of the peace process's resilience. The galaxy, once divided by war, was learning to navigate the challenges of peace, with humanity playing an unexpected but pivotal role in guiding this journey. Following the resolution of the Cretan collapse, the galaxy found itself at a crossroads. The successful intervention by the Prometheus had not only averted a return to hostilities, but also underscored a profound truth. The galaxy craved peace, stability, and a path forward that diverged from the cyclical violence of the past. Humanity, through its actions, had positioned itself as a beacon of hope, a mediator capable of bridging the vast divides between civilizations. It was within this climate of cautious optimism that Earth proposed an unprecedented initiative: the establishment of a Galactic Peace Assembly, GPA, a forum where civilizations could come together to resolve disputes, share advancements, and collaborate on issues affecting the galaxy at large. The offer was extended to all, friend and foe alike, with the promise of neutrality, dialogue, and mutual respect at its core. The proposal, broadcast galaxy-wide, was met with a mixture of skepticism and intrigue. For many, the idea of a united assembly, particularly one spearheaded by a species as new to the galactic stage as humanity, seemed far-fetched. Yet there was an undeniable appeal to the vision presented by Earth, a vision of a galaxy united not by conquest, but by cooperation. The Zorblaxians, with their advanced understanding of energy and their philosophical inclination towards harmony, were among the first to voice their support. They saw in the GPA a platform to share their knowledge, to contribute to a collective well-being that transcended individual civilizations. The Cretans, still reeling from their internal strife but emboldened by the peace negotiations, also came forward. The promise of a forum where their warrior culture could be respected and their voice heard on equal footing was a significant draw. Commander Vrax, in a gesture that stunned many, publicly endorsed the GPA, committing his people to a path of dialogue over conflict. As more civilizations began to express their interest, the concept of the GPA evolved from an ambitious dream into a tangible reality. Earth offered to host the inaugural assembly, dedicating resources and territory for what would become the GPA headquarters, a sprawling complex designed to accommodate the diverse needs of the galaxy's many species. The design and construction of the GPA headquarters became a symbol of the assembly's ideals. Teams comprising humans and aliens worked side by side, combining technologies and aesthetics to create a space that was welcoming to all. The complex was equipped with advanced translation technologies, environmental controls to accommodate different life forms, and meeting spaces designed to facilitate open dialogue. The establishment of the GPA marked a new era in galactic history. For the first time, disputes were settled not on the battlefield, but around the negotiation table. Trade agreements flourished, leading to an exchange of knowledge and resources that spurred advancements across multiple sectors. Joint exploratory missions were launched, charting the unexplored corners of the galaxy and fostering a spirit of adventure and discovery. The role of humanity in this galactic transformation was significant. The Earth's representatives, drawing from their own history of conflict and cooperation, played a key role in facilitating discussions and mediating disputes. The Prometheus, once a symbol of Earth's bold venture into the stars, became the GPA's flagship, a vessel of peace navigating the currents of galactic politics. The offer to establish the GPA had been a gamble, a leap of faith in the potential for unity and peace. But as the assembly grew, as former adversaries sat side by side to discuss their futures, it became clear that the gamble had paid off. The galaxy was changing, moving towards a future where cooperation outshone conflict, and where the legacy of war could be transformed into a legacy of peace. The success of the GPA was not without its challenges. There were disagreements, setbacks, and moments when the fragile peace threatened to unravel. Yet each challenge was met with a renewed commitment to dialogue, a testament to the enduring power of the offer that had brought them all together. The galaxy had been offered a chance at peace, and together they had chosen to embrace it. The establishment of the Galactic Peace Assembly, GPA, was a watershed moment in the galaxy's history, signaling a collective yearning for a cessation of hostilities that had marred the cosmos for eons. The ceasefire, initially fragile and fraught with the potential for breakdown, gradually solidified into a durable peace, nurtured by the unprecedented collaboration witnessed within the GPA's halls. This newfound peace was not solely the absence of war, but a dynamic living process that required constant attention and dedication. The GPA provided a platform for this process, facilitating dialogue, resolving disputes, and fostering a culture of mutual respect and understanding among its diverse members. The Prometheus crew, having returned to Earth as heroes, continued to play a pivotal role in the galactic peacekeeping efforts. Their experiences and the lessons learned during their mission informed the GPA's approach to conflict resolution. Captain Aisha Patel, in particular, became a prominent figure in the assembly, sharing her insights on the power of empathy and the importance of looking beyond one's prejudices to find common ground. Dr. Elena Vasquez and Dr. Liam O'Connor contributed to the GPA's understanding of the cultural and biological diversity of its member species. Their work helped to prevent misunderstandings that could lead to conflict, promoting instead a celebration of the galaxy's rich tapestry of life. Lieutenant Kazuo Takahashi and his security team were instrumental in developing the GPA's peacekeeping protocols. Drawing from their experiences during the Prometheus mission, they advocated for a peacekeeping force that emphasized de-escalation and diplomacy over military intervention. The ceasefire's success was also due in large part to the grassroots movements that emerged across the galaxy, inspired by the example set by the Prometheus and the GPA. Civilizations that had once viewed each other with suspicion and hostility now engaged in cultural exchanges, educational initiatives, and collaborative projects. These people-to-people connections formed the bedrock of the lasting peace, reinforcing the formal agreements made at the GPA with a genuine desire for understanding and friendship. Challenges to the ceasefire did arise. Old grievances and territorial disputes tested the GPA's ability to mediate conflicts. However, each challenge was met with a commitment to the principles that had founded the assembly. Slowly but surely, the culture of dialogue and cooperation began to replace the old norms of aggression and dominance. The ceasefire held, not because of the threat of enforcement, but because of a collective realization among the galaxy's civilizations that the path to prosperity and security lay in unity, not in conquest. The galaxy's dark age of war gave way to a renaissance of collaboration, driven by the shared goal of a better future for all. As the first anniversary of the ceasefire approached, the GPA planned a galaxy-wide celebration to mark the occasion. The event was to be a showcase of the progress made, a tribute to those who had worked tirelessly to maintain the peace, and a reminder of the fragile nature of harmony. It was a time of reflection, of looking back at the journey that had brought them to this point, and of looking forward to the challenges and opportunities that lay ahead. The ceasefire, once a tentative hope, had become the foundation of a new era. The galaxy, once divided by war, was now united in its pursuit of peace, a testament to the resilience of its many peoples and the enduring power of cooperation. The legacy of the Prometheus and its crew lived on, not just as a tale of heroism and diplomacy, but as a beacon of hope for the galaxy's future. The anniversary of the ceasefire marked not just a celebration of peace, but also the culmination of a year's worth of negotiations, discussions, and collaborative efforts under the auspices of the Galactic Peace Assembly, GPA. This momentous occasion was chosen to sign a formal treaty that would solidify the ceasefire into a lasting framework for interstellar cooperation and peace, a document that would come to be known as the Treaty of the Stars. The treaty was a comprehensive document, addressing not only the cessation of hostilities, but also laying down the principles for mutual respect, sovereignty, and the right to self-determination of all galaxy inhabitants. It established guidelines for trade, shared resources, and the collaborative exploration of space, setting the groundwork for a united galactic community. Negotiating the Treaty of the Stars was an exhaustive process, involving diplomats, scientists, military advisors, and representatives from every corner of the galaxy. Humanity played a central role, with members of the Prometheus crew often mediating the most challenging discussions, leveraging their unique position as the architects of the ceasefire to guide the negotiations towards consensus. Captain Aisha Patel served as a key figure during these negotiations, embodying the spirit of cooperation that had defined humanity's approach from the beginning. Her insights into the nature of conflict and peace, forged during the mission that had halted the Galactic War, were invaluable in crafting the treaty's core principles. Dr. Elena Vasquez and Dr. Liam O'Connor contributed their extensive knowledge of alien cultures and biology, ensuring that the treaty respected the diversity of life forms in the galaxy. Their work helped to frame the treaty's environmental and exploration policies, emphasizing sustainability and the shared stewardship of cosmic wonders. Lieutenant Kazuo Takahashi's experience in security and peacekeeping informed the treaty's defense protocols. These sections were designed not to militarize the galaxy, but to provide a collective security framework that prioritized de-escalation and mutual defense against external threats. The Treaty of the Stars was signed in a ceremony held on Earth, chosen for its role as the birthplace of the initiative that had led to this historic moment. Representatives from across the galaxy gathered, each signing the treaty not just on behalf of their civilizations but as a testament to their commitment to a shared future. The signing ceremony was broadcast throughout the galaxy, a symbol of unity and a message of hope to all its inhabitants. The treaty's signing was not the end of the journey, but the beginning of a new chapter in galactic history, one characterized by collaboration and mutual understanding. The impact of the treaty was immediate and far-reaching. Borders that had once been zones of conflict became lines on a map, separating distinct but cooperative neighbors. The exchange of knowledge and culture flourished, enriching civilizations with the heritage of the galaxy's diverse inhabitants. The GPA, empowered by the treaty, evolved into a governing body respected by all, its decisions guided by the principles of fairness, justice, and the collective good. It became the forum where disputes were resolved, where collaborative projects were born, and where the galaxy's future was shaped. The Treaty of the Stars marked a turning point for the galaxy, transforming it from a battleground into a community. It was a testament to what could be achieved when beings, however different, came together with a common purpose. The legacy of the Prometheus and its crew, once a beacon of hope in a time of war, became the foundation upon which a new era of peace and prosperity was built, a legacy that would endure as long as the stars themselves shone in the cosmos. In the wake of the Treaty of the Stars, the galaxy underwent a transformation unlike any in its storied history. Civilizations that had once defined themselves through the lens of conflict now sought identity in peace and cooperation. The Galactic Peace Assembly, GPA, emerged as the heart of this new galaxy, a place where voices from across the stars came together to forge a collective future. Earth, and particularly the crew of the Prometheus, found themselves at the forefront of an unprecedented era of galactic diplomacy and exploration. The aftermath of the treaty saw the birth of numerous initiatives aimed at healing the scars of centuries of conflict. Rehabilitation projects were launched on war-torn worlds, with technologies and expertise shared freely under the auspices of the GPA. These efforts were not just about rebuilding, but about creating societies that valued peace, sustainability, and the welfare of all their inhabitants. Humanity's role in this new galaxy was multifaceted. Earth became a hub for interstellar diplomacy, its universities and research institutions places of learning for species from across the galaxy. The Prometheus itself, now a symbol of peace, embarked on missions of exploration and goodwill, its crew serving as ambassadors to worlds seeking to join the GPA. Captain Aisha Patel, once a military officer tasked with preventing a galactic war, found a new calling as a diplomat and spokesperson for the ideals of the GPA. Her leadership during the treaty negotiations and her vision for a united galaxy made her a respected figure on countless worlds. Dr. Elena Vasquez and Dr. Liam O'Connor, whose contributions had been crucial in understanding and communicating with the diverse species of the galaxy, led the establishment of the Galactic Cultural Exchange Program. This initiative facilitated not only the sharing of knowledge and technology, but also the exchange of cultural practices, art, and philosophies, enriching the tapestry of galactic society. Lieutenant Kazuo Takahashi took charge of developing the GPA's peacekeeping forces, drawing on his experiences during the Prometheus mission to create a force that was capable of maintaining peace without resorting to the violence of the past. These peacekeepers became the guardians of the treaty, ensuring that disputes were resolved through dialogue rather than conflict. The aftermath of the treaty also saw the flourishing of trade and commerce, with the establishment of free trade zones and the creation of a galactic currency. This economic boom led to a renaissance of innovation and technology, as species shared their most advanced technologies for the benefit of all. Yet, the transition to peace was not without its challenges. Old grudges and prejudices lingered, and some factions struggled to adapt to a galaxy where cooperation outweighed competition. The GPA worked tirelessly to address these issues, promoting reconciliation and understanding through dialogue and shared projects. As the galaxy moved forward, the legacy of the Prometheus and its crew remained a beacon of hope. Their journey from Earth to the heart of a galactic conflict, and their role in ushering in an era of peace, became a story told and retold on countless worlds, a reminder of what was possible when beings chose to look beyond their differences and work together for a common future. The aftermath of the Treaty of the Stars was a testament to the resilience and potential for unity inherent in the galaxy's many inhabitants. It was a period of growth, of healing, and of new beginnings. The galaxy, once divided by war, now stood together, looking to the stars not as battlegrounds but as beacons of hope and opportunity. The journey ahead was filled with challenges, but also with limitless possibilities, As the galaxy embarked on a new era of peace and prosperity, guided by the principles laid down by the Treaty of the Stars, the galaxy stood on the brink of a new era, marked by the dawn of peace and collaboration under the guiding principles of the Treaty of the Stars. This period, known as the New Dawn, was characterized by an unprecedented level of unity among the stars, fostered by the groundwork laid by the Galactic Peace Assembly, GPA, and the enduring legacy of the Prometheus crew. In this new era, the galaxy flourished as never before. The free exchange of ideas, technologies, and cultural practices led to a renaissance of innovation and creativity. Worlds that had once been isolated by the barriers of war and distrust now engaged in collaborative projects that spanned the cosmos. These projects ranged from terraforming and ecosystem restoration to the construction of interstellar research hubs where scientists from different species worked side by side. Humanity found itself at the heart of this transformation. Earth's institutions of learning and diplomacy became centers of excellence for interstellar studies, attracting scholars and diplomats from across the galaxy. The Human Galactic Initiative, a program launched by the GPA with Earth's leadership, sought to ensure that every civilization, regardless of its size or power, had a voice in shaping the future of the galaxy. The New Dawn also saw the emergence of the interspecies cultural exchange, a movement that celebrated the diversity of the galaxy. Festivals, exhibitions, and forums were held on myriad worlds, allowing beings from different corners of the galaxy to share their heritage, art, and philosophies. This exchange deepened mutual understanding and respect, breaking down long-standing prejudices and fostering a sense of galactic citizenship. Economically, the galaxy experienced a boom like never before. The establishment of galactic trade routes and the introduction of a unified currency facilitated commerce on an unprecedented scale. Poverty and scarcity, once drivers of conflict, were significantly reduced as technologies and resources were shared freely among GPA member worlds. However, the New Dawn was not without its challenges. The rapid changes brought about by peace and cooperation strained some societies, challenging traditional power structures and cultural norms. The GPA, recognizing the need for a holistic approach to integration, established the Office of Societal Support, tasked with assisting worlds in navigating the complex process of adaptation. The Prometheus, now a vessel of exploration and peace, continued its journey across the stars. Its crew, a mix of original members and new faces from across the galaxy, embarked on missions of discovery, diplomacy, and assistance. Each voyage was a testament to the enduring spirit of curiosity and goodwill that had catalyzed the galaxy's transformation. As the New Dawn unfolded, the galaxy began to look outward, beyond the conflicts and struggles of the past. The formation of the Galactic Exploration Alliance, a coalition of civilizations dedicated to the peaceful exploration of the unknown, marked the next step in the galactic journey. This alliance, with humanity playing a key role, set its sights on the mysteries that lay beyond the known galaxy, seeking not to conquer but to understand and connect with whatever they might find. The New Dawn was more than a period of peace. It was a testament to the potential for unity and progress when beings chose to focus on what united them rather than what divided them. The galaxy, once a tapestry of conflict, had become a mosaic of cooperation, rich with the colors of 1,000 worlds and species, all moving forward together into a future filled with hope and boundless possibilities. As the galaxy embraced the principles of the New Dawn, the need for vigilance against the return of old conflicts or the rise of new threats became increasingly apparent. This era of peace had not only opened up avenues for unprecedented cooperation, but also necessitated the creation of a unified defense against existential threats. The formation of the Galactic Guardians marked this evolution, a coalition forged from the diverse civilizations of the GPA, dedicated to preserving the peace and protecting the galaxy from both internal and external dangers. The Guardians were not a military force in the traditional sense, but a multi-species organization equipped with the latest technologies for peacekeeping, disaster relief, and, when necessary, defense. Their mandate was clear: to serve as the custodians of the peace that had been so hard won, ensuring that the dark days of galactic war did not return. Humanity played a pivotal role in the Guardians' formation, drawing on their unique experience as the mediators who had brought the galaxy together. The crew of the Prometheus, particularly those who had been part of the original mission, became key figures in the Guardians. lending their expertise and serving as a bridge between the various species that made up the coalition. Captain Aisha Patel, once the commander of the Prometheus, was appointed as one of the Guardian's leading strategists. Her leadership during the Treaty of the Stars negotiations had earned her respect across the galaxy, making her an ideal candidate to guide this new force in its mission to maintain peace. Lieutenant Kazuo Takahashi, with his background in security and peacekeeping, spearheaded the development of the Guardian's operational protocols. His emphasis on diplomacy and non-lethal interventions became the cornerstone of the Guardian's approach to conflict resolution. The Guardian's first major initiative was the establishment of the Early Warning Network, a galaxy-wide system of sensors and communication relays designed to detect and respond to threats before they could escalate. This network allowed the Guardians to provide rapid assistance to worlds facing natural disasters, pirate attacks, or the resurgence of old hostilities, demonstrating the practical benefits of the New Dawn's cooperative ethos. In addition to their peacekeeping duties, the Guardians also took on the role of explorers and ambassadors. Their ships, bearing the insignia of the Galactic Peace Assembly, ventured into uncharted regions of space, making contact with isolated civilizations and inviting them to join the galactic community. These missions were conducted in the spirit of openness and respect, with the aim of expanding the reach of the New Dawn's principles. The Guardians' presence became a symbol of the galaxy's commitment to peace and mutual protection. Their interventions were guided by the principle of minimum force, maximum diplomacy, a philosophy that prioritized the preservation of life and the sovereignty of all beings. This approach not only prevented conflicts but also built trust among the galaxy's diverse populations, reinforcing the idea that security and freedom were not mutually exclusive. As the galaxy continued to evolve, the Guardians adapted, incorporating new technologies and strategies to meet the changing landscape of galactic affairs. They remained, however, steadfast in their mission to protect the peace that had been so painstakingly achieved. Their existence was a testament to the galaxy's determination to avoid the mistakes of the past, to look forward with hope rather than backward with fear. The Guardians stood as the protectors of the New Dawn, a reminder of the resilience of peace and the strength that comes from unity. They were not just defenders but also keepers of the galaxy's collective conscience, embodying the ideals that had brought an end to centuries of conflict and ushered in an era of unprecedented cooperation and prosperity. As the New Dawn matured into a stable era of peace and prosperity, the legacy of the Prometheus and its crew became a cornerstone of galactic history. Their story, from embarking on a desperate mission to end a centuries-old conflict to laying the groundwork for the Galactic Peace Assembly, GPA, and the Guardians, was taught on worlds across the galaxy. It served as a reminder of the power of diplomacy, courage, and the indomitable spirit of those who dare to dream of peace in times of war. This legacy was celebrated in various forms throughout the galaxy. Monuments and museums dedicated to the Prometheus mission and the subsequent founding of the GPA were established on many planets, including Earth. These sites became places of pilgrimage for beings from across the stars, each seeking to connect with the history that had reshaped the galaxy. The Prometheus itself, now retired from active duty, was preserved as a historical artifact and museum orbiting Earth. Its decks and corridors, once home to the crew that had navigated the ship through the perils of war and diplomacy, now hosted visitors from across the galaxy. They came to learn, to remember, and to pay homage to the bravery and wisdom that had led to the New Dawn. Education systems across the galaxy incorporated the story of the Prometheus into their curricula, teaching young beings not just about the conflict and the diplomacy that ended it, but also about the values that had made peace possible. These lessons emphasized the importance of empathy, the strength found in diversity, and the enduring power of cooperation over conflict. The legacy of the Prometheus and its crew also inspired a new generation of explorers, diplomats, and peacekeepers. Motivated by the tales of their predecessors' courage and ingenuity, these individuals pursued careers that spanned the stars, contributing to the ongoing project of building a galactic community. They served on the ships of the Guardians, worked within the GPA, and led missions to unexplored regions of space, all in the spirit of the New Dawn. Annual commemorations of the signing of the Treaty of the Stars became galaxy-wide events, marked by moments of silence, speeches, and celebrations that highlighted the achievements of the past and the hopes for the future. These occasions served not just as reminders of what had been accomplished, but also as renewals of the commitment to the peace that had been so hard won. The legacy of the Prometheus mission extended beyond the political and into the cultural fabric of the galaxy. Stories, films, and artworks inspired by the mission and the subsequent era of peace enriched the galaxy's cultures, exploring the themes of unity and the triumph of peace over war. These works served as testaments to the enduring impact of the mission, capturing the imagination of countless beings and inspiring them to contribute to the legacy of peace. As the galaxy moved forward, the legacy of the Prometheus and its crew remained a guiding light. It was a reminder that even in the darkest of times, a few brave souls could change the course of history. The new dawn was their legacy, a galaxy united in peace, exploring the stars not as conquerors, but as a community of diverse beings bound by a shared commitment to a brighter future.